Wish I had a cool story for you. I wish I could say I was setting a PR in the gym or doing something epic, but the truth is, I hurt my ankle taking out the trash on a typical Monday night. I took one trash can out, turned around to get the second one, and my foot found that gap between the grass and the sidewalk. I rolled it, completely fell, and heard and felt some sort of pop. I'm Debbie. I'm an online personal trainer, and I spend my time helping real life folks get strong for real life. That pop when I fell sent me straight back to seventh grade, which was the last time I heard that sound. And that time I actually broke my left ankle. I was worried. I went to urgent care that night because I thought it might be broken. Thankfully, the x rays were clear, but they sent me home in a boot and on crutches with the standard advice: if it doesn't feel better in 2 weeks, call your doctor. As I lay on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, I started catastrophizing, which is not completely abnormal for me, by the way. I'm a personal trainer. I'm supposed to be the fit one. And yet here I was, 10 days out from going with 43 middle schoolers to Chicago for a choir competition, and I couldn't even walk to my own kitchen or drive a car. I was trapped in that universal fear we all have as we age that like one injury is the beginning of the end. I thought, I'm just old now. My body's finally failing me. I was worried that instead of being a help on the Chicago trip, I was going to be a hindrance. But I had to catch myself. This is what I tell my clients: data over drama. I realized that being positive isn't just a mood, it's a physiological tool for recovery. I decided right then I wasn't going to let the drama of the boot dictate the next 10 days. So, what do you do when you have 10 days to go from crutches to helping out on a trip? You start making deposits into your recovery immediately. I got to work on daily mobility, doing those ankle alphabets, tracing every letter with my toes to keep the joint moving. I had pretty good up and down mobility pretty quickly, so I pushed myself to move from 2 crutches to just 1 as fast as I safely could. I gradually added weight back to that foot and tested the data every single day. But more than the physical exercises, I really leaned into the mental belief that it was going to heal. And honestly, I was surprised at how quickly it was feeling better on a day-to-day basis. Was it because the injury wasn't as bad as I first thought? Maybe, even though it definitely hurt like it was. Or was it because my baseline fitness and the strength in that leg were higher than I realized? I think it was a bit of both. That's the power of your account balance when you have a foundation of strength. Your body has the resources to bounce back. It's not just about how much you can lift today, it's about how fast you can recover tomorrow. This injury happened right as we're entering the summer shred season. You know the ads. They tell you to get bikini ready or shrink for the beach. And I want to be really honest with you about a shift that I've had in my own life and my coaching. I've stopped focusing on helping people get as small as possible. I've stopped caring about shrinking. When I was laying on that couch, I didn't care about my pant size. I cared about my independence. I was worried about whether I could walk from security to the gate in the airport or stand and get around at the choir competition. I have realized that for years, the fitness industry has sold us a lie that our value is tied to taking up less space. But as an educator and as a woman who's almost 50, I want to take up more space. I want to be strong. I want to be mobile. I want the dignity of strength that lets me chaperone a trip even when I'm injured. Fast forward 10 days and I made it to Chicago. I actually made it there without the boot or the crutches. I thought about taking an ankle brace, but it felt like it hindered me more than just walking a bit more slowly would. Now, I want to be clear, this wasn't a tourist trip where I was needing to walk 20,000 steps through the city. This was a choir competition. Most of my time was spent riding in the car, wrangling kids, and picking up meals. It was boots on the ground logistics, not walk with kids throughout the city. The biggest hurdle was the airport. If you've been through security to the gate, you know that can be a trek. What I was so grateful for in that moment was that I wasn't winded. The energy of the walk wasn't the issue. It just took me longer because my mobility was limited. Throughout the trip, my ankle would swell from standing or sitting, and I'd have to find every chance to get it elevated so the blood flow wasn't just dumping down into the joint. On one occasion, I did have to take some ibuprofen to manage some of the pain and the discomfort, but because my physical emergency fund was stocked, I could handle the slow pace and the swelling without it ruining the trip for the kids. I know many of you listening are teachers, and right now you are in what I call the final March to June. You're making withdrawals from your physical bank account every single day. But how do you know if you're actually in a physical overdraft, spending too much energy and not replenishing it? First, look at your exhaustion levels. At the end of the day, does it feel like a monumental task just to grade a few papers or plan for tomorrow? When you get home, is the idea of choosing a meal or deciding on an exercise just a burden that you can't overcome? If you're wondering why you're so exhausted at 7 p.m. when it's still light outside, that's a sign. Second, check your patience. Are you more irritated by parent emails or administrator check-ins than usual? Do you find yourself sitting in meetings that could have been emails with zero patience left? If your tone with your students is getting shorter or sharper than it was back in October, you're probably running on fumes. You're underfunded. That's why I don't care about a summer shred. I care about your body age. Can you handle a rolled ankle while taking out the trash and still show up for your students 10 days later? Some of you might remember back in episode 3, we talked about fitness over 40, and I touched on 4 specific assessments that you can do to see where you stand. After that episode aired, I realized that just hearing about those assessments in a podcast wasn't enough. I wanted to give you something that you could actually hold in your hands to track your progress. As an educator, I'm big on assessment before action. If you missed my deep dive in episode 3, I want to catch you up on the 4 specific movements we use in the functional longevity audit to find your baseline. Test number 1 is the sit to stand. It measures the power in your legs. Can you get up from a chair without using your hands? It's the foundation of being able to move through your world independently. Test number 2 is the single leg balance. This is your insurance policy against falls. Can you stay steady when life throws you a curveball? Test 3, the 1-mile walk, measures your cardiovascular endurance. It's not about speed, it's about your heart and lungs' ability to handle the boots on the ground logistics of a trip like mine. And then the floor to stand assessment. Can you get off the floor with minimal support? It's a direct indicator of your long-term mobility and independence. Body age is just data. It's not a judgment. It's just proof that meaningful change is possible. So I've taken those assessments and I expanded them into a full downloadable document. I'm calling it the Functional Longevity Audit. It isn't just a list of exercises. It's a toolkit for your longevity. When you download the audit, you're getting a step-by-step guide to each of these 4 assessments. There are dedicated spots for you to record your initial results, along with a deep dive into what those numbers actually mean for your health as you age. The part I'm most excited about is the progress tracker. There's a second chart included for you to fill in 30 days or a few months from now. Whether you decide to focus on just one weak area or overhaul all 4, you will have a clear visual record of how your physical emergency fund is growing. It turns your fitness from this vague goal into something measurable, like a bank account. My trip to Chicago was a success because I had a physical cushion, and I want that same resilience for you. You aren't broken. You might just be underfunded, and we can start making those deposits today. If you're ready to stop shoulding yourself and start actually tracking that data that can actually matter to your long-term future, I want you to go get this document. The link is in my show notes. I've done all the thinking for you. All you have to do is take that first test and start the journey. Thanks for listening. Keep showing up and building your strength for the journey. Oh, and on a side note, those 43 choir students had an incredible trip to Chicago. They swept the competition, won the best soloist. They were really light years above the other schools. And it was really, really incredible to watch. And I'm so grateful that this injury to my ankle didn't keep me from being there to watch these kids shine in the way that they did.